Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Green Team of the Legendarium. I'm your host Cesky, and today I have with me LRB,
Hello.
and I have a newcomer to our book series today, and it is Befuddled Panda.
Hello, hello.
Now, if you're wondering what book we could be covering, we are going to be covering The Shattering Peace by John Scalzi. This is the 7th book in the Old Man's War. And we were lucky enough to get an ARC copy of this book from NetGalley. Thank you to them. This was going to just be our opinions of the book. Nobody's unfortunately paying us to give it a really good review. Reach out. We might be able to strike a deal of some kind, I'm sure, right?
He's
Right.
kidding.
I am kidding, but not really. Just let me know. We'll talk. So, this is the 7th book in the Old Man's War. Now, Panda, have you read anything else in this book, in this series?
Nope. I've read the titles of all the other books.
Wow. And
in
did
the
those
series.
titles prepare you for this?
Kind of. Kind of.
So
But
you
no,
read
not really.
just a second. Sorry to interrupt. You read the Wikipedia of all the other books
No, she
or
read
No,
the
I just read
titles.
the titles.
titles?
So,
Okay.
Old Man War, The Ghost Brigades, Zoe's Story. I don't remember the other titles off the top of my head. But, all right,
Yeah.
well, let's, before we get into the details of how it was as a new reader, let's just go around and say how we felt about this book overall, and then let's kind of dig into some positives. Maybe we'll hit some negatives, then we'll go back to positives at the end. Does that sound fair to you guys?
Sounds
Yep.
good.
Okay. I'll start. This book was weird to me. No shade to Scalzi or anybody, but the ebook that I was the copy that we got just had some weird formatting things in it.
It was not in ebook format. It literally looked like it was what they sent off to the printers.
It
like
was it had some things in it that just were a little bit of a mess. Now that made me struggle to get into it a little bit more until I could fix those things, and then it was a lot better. But
okay.
the formatting I struggled with it because of the formatting. So I think with good formatting, my opinion would improve of this book. But I think overall, I'm still going to give it like a 3.5 to 3.75 is kind of where I'm feeling on it. Like a little lower than the other ones, but I did still enjoy it. Panda, we're going to save you for last because you're our
Okay.
special guest here today. Red, how did you feel about this book?
I'm very conflicted about this book. The beginning is so unevenly paced, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
It has parts in the first half to whatever, where it feels like it gets really bogged down. And it's not just techno babble. I just feel like the plot stalls in several places in the first half of the book.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. You're allowed to think that.
Thank you. I'm trying to remember what I give his books in general. I would give it 3 stars.
Okay.
Fair.
I really like the end of the book. I feel like it gets itself in shape and together, and we're ready to go. Basically, I feel like the first half of the book is throat clearing.
Yeah.
If that makes
Okay.
sense. But it was
Sure.
I had fun with all my old alien friends. Like, we have all these fun, weird aliens, and they're back, and I love it. So
All right, Panda, you're up. How did
Okay.
you feel about your first entry into the Old Man's War series?
Before anybody starts yelling at me, I did ask Scalzi if it was a bad idea to start to read the Shattering Piece as an entry point into the Old Man's War series. And he did say that, and I'll just quote him, he says, I write all my series books with the assumption that the person picking up the book does not have access to the previous books in the series, which means the first couple of chapters have relevant incluing added into the storytelling. So you can read this one without having read the others. He continues, now, if you have read the others first, you'll more immediately be up to speed with the characters and the context. But otherwise, my philosophy as a novelist is don't give readers an excuse to put down your book. No matter where a book is in a series of mine, I'll get you up to speed fast. So I put that to the test. And what I will say is, I definitely wasn't, like, confused going into the 7th installment of the series. He definitely does give you enough information that, you need for the story that he's telling in this book, and I think for the most part, it does work. Perhaps some of the pacing issues that, Little Red you were talking about has something to do with the including, the weaving of that context. Some of it I did find a little repetitive, but, I was just like, "Okay, there's gotta be more to the story, I'm just gonna keep going." And I agree with Little Red in that the first half of the book did have quite a bit of throat clearing, which we can talk about more in the spoilers section. But, I ended up having a lot of fun with the book. The second half was definitely much better, and I have some favorite characters that I'm excited to talk about.
Well, that's good. No, so star rating, if you're willing to give a star rating.
I this one's a, like, 3.25-ish,
Okay.
3.5 for me. I think if the first half was a bit more edited, then it would have been, like, closer to a 4.
Okay. That sounds great, yeah. I I mean, it's been a little while since we read the Old Man's War series. So it took me a little while to actually like remember all of the things and all of the places and all of all of the
There's a
species that
lot
were
of things.
going on cuz I was like who is this? What species is this? And why do I care about this? And what I just it was I had a little bit of trouble just getting back into it. But then once I was in it and I could remember who all these characters were, which
Yeah,
none of them are really in any of the other books. Gretchen
okay.
is a little bit, but she's so minor of a character in the one book she's in, it's as if she wasn't really there.
I was very
Okay.
confused, by the way, having read the whole series. Uh, I was very confused. I'm like, "I feel like I should know who this person was," and I just had
Well,
completely forgotten her.
I don't
But Little
I don't
Red, Gretchen was Zoe's best friend. Come
yeah, and
on.
and we get that twice in two
Yeah.
books, right? We get it in 3 and 4, one of Zoe's story and one's the other one. Because if you didn't know, Panda, books 3 and 4 are the same story, but basically from two different viewpoints.
Okay,
And there's
got it.
there
So
are
that's why
there
it's
are
called Zoe's
more
Tale.
yes, and that's why there
Okay,
are more differences than just point of view, but like
got it.
yeah, that's the basic conceit is it's the same story but twice.
Yeah,
And that's the one she's in, right? Because that's the colony of Roanoke, which is not a
right,
spoiler.
right.
Don't worry, it doesn't matter for the story. Um, like I don't know if it just wasn't clear to me at the beginning or if I was just wrong or if it was just too much thrown at me, but I was like, what alien are we following right now? What species is she? Because I was like, because other books and other stories do like the last book does follow aliens because it's that short
I
story
see.
conglomeration. So you get like short story snippet here from an alien on Earth, short
Right,
story snippet here from an alien doing this thing, and
right.
and so I was like, what alien? Because I was like, why is it impressive that she beat this guy? And I'm like, is it a bad alien? And I was just like, that took me a minute to
Oh,
remember and,
that's
and
so
get back.
interesting. Okay, so it's almost as if, like, me coming in with, like, no baggage, like, none of the previous experience with the books was actually a little better
I
in
think
that
so. I think
I
It
so.
just
might have been just. I think if I'd read five or six more recently, I think it would have been
okay.
fine as well. But where I
Interesting.
hadn't, I just didn't. But we're talking about good things that are non-spoilery. I thought, let me ask you about the plot. Red,
Mhm.
hit me with your plot feelings here. Was the plot good?
I think so. I like
Was it
myself a
good?
little bit of spy, intrigue, political machinations. I do like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this does that. And I like there's there's some relational dynamics that I really
Mhm.
enjoy between Gretchen and her dad. And I don't think that's a spoiler because that kind of is what kicks off the whole book. And
Right. It's pretty
Gretchen as
early
a
on.
character. Hmm?
Her and her dad, that kind of thing. It's like brought up pretty early on.
Yeah.
Right, right.
I don't think it's the bad thing to say that somebody's going to have some small talks with their dad in a story.
Oh, no. But I'm saying that's
Yeah.
basically what kicks off the plot of the story is her
Mhm.
relationship with her father, I think.
Yeah. Mhm.
And her relationship with some other people. I also really like her relationship with her assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very good
I like
story.
Bran. He was great. He's my
It.
favorite Oben. I like him much better than, Zoe's Oben, to be honest.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, generally, I think it's good. It just has it like I said, it feels a little throat cleary for the first part
That's
of it.
fine.
In general, I really enjoyed the story. Yeah.
Panda, does it stack with other Scalzi plots that you've read?
Okay, so that might be a spoiler. Okay. Yes. Yes. So this is definitely a Scalzi book. Like it has his personality and imprint all over it.
Yeah,
If you
you can feel him in it for
Yes,
sure.
for sure. And we can talk about specifics when we get into the spoiler part, but overall like what Scalzi is good at is he takes like a serious situation and he just puts in the like silliest kinds of twists on that situation that he
100%.
can think of. And so it's like this um overall I think he does a pretty good balance of like the gravity of the situation and the silliness. There's a few times where the silliness kind of took me out of the story a bit, but overall like he does it pretty well in my opinion. So the plot wise, I was interested and wanted to find out. There were a few parts that were a bit convoluted. Um, but overall, it was fun.
We'll have to ask when we get to the spoiler sections if those were convoluted because you're missing critical backstory or not.
Okay, sure.
Because if it's about an alien species, and then there might be some more clues that would make it less confusing,
Okay,
or just like we're used to it because it's been going on for 5 books.
sure, sure. Well,
uh,
technically 6, I guess.
yeah, 6. Sorry. I liked the plot. I thought it was interesting. Thing goes missing. They have to find it. They have no idea how or where or why or anything like that. I really liked. I don't know. I'll get into that in the spoiler section, but overall, I did like the way the book went. Some minor thoughts at the end about the end of it, but it was fine. I thought they were. I don't know. Panda Red. What do you guys want to talk about in the non-spoiler section here?
I was gonna say, think I'm done because the main problem I have with the plot is definitely a spoiler.
Okay.
All
So
right.
before we get into spoiler, I will say that what I have noticed about Scalzi books that I've read, now I've read like what 5 of his books. They He does tend to write his stories to be dialogue heavy. Like there's a lot of work that's being done in dialogue, which does
Mhm.
make it a faster read. Um, except for when the dialogue gets a little too bogged down
It
with some
does in this book
details.
too. It does. There's a lot of like techno babble,
Yeah.
The
and then I'm like,
technobabble didn't bother me, but it was at this
"Oh,
one.
it didn't bother
I
you.
agree.
It
It did
bothered other
feel
people, okay?"
heavy in the dialogue. So yeah,
When you only have like 2 paragraphs of one person talking. I'm just
just
saying.
get more techie. That's all you got to do.
No, okay, you couldn't even get your freaking microphone to work at the beginning of half
Excuse
the book.
you. The microphone worked. Discord did not. Let's get that straight. But I guess as a non-spoiler, I thought it was a good entry into a good addition to the Old Man's War series. I thought it was very it fits to the standards of Old Man's War and to Scalzi. So it's a good book.
Okay.
It's fun. It's exciting. It's definitely worth a read if you like Scalzi at all. So let's get into that spoiler section now. So
Okay.
I'll give a quick rundown of what happened in the book, right?
Mhm.
Gretchen, a human, lived on the colony of Roanoke. Zoe Boutine Perry's best friend, allegedly. I don't know, she is. But she gets called into a meeting. There's a colony that's missing, a joint colony from the Conclave, Earth, and the Colonial Union. They stuck a secret colony to test whether we can integrate and all work together, because in the past there was a lot of violence between the Colonial Union and the Conclave, and then keeping Earth out of everything. All of a sudden, this asteroid that they've been cohabitating on just vanishes completely out of the blue. Gretchen is sent on a fact-finding expedition. Basically, turns out they find the asteroid hidden with all the colonies in a different universe, which a different universe. If you're familiar with the skip drives of the Old Man's War series, instead of traveling to a nearby universe, which is exactly the same except for minute differences, one atom here, one atom there. This is a vastly different universe where, as far as we can tell, there is no humans or Conclave or Colonial Union. And so they find it, they work with some consu, they have to figure out how to bring it back. They figure things out. Gretchen is named an honorary consu and then decides to live in an alternate universe forever. The end of the story.
Yep.
Ta-da! The peace is held. There is no shattered peace.
At
Not
least
not
not
this
right
time.
now.
But
Yeah.
it was close. Yes, it was close. So, let's see. For me in this book, I really liked everything after they get sent there. Before they get sent.
After Gretchen gets sent there?
Yeah, after Gretchen gets sent to find it. Like once they skip and they get to where it's supposed to be, that's when the book started getting really good and interesting for me. Before
Okay.
that, I just, the politicking and the stuff was just a lot for me. Like it just kept going over and over. It felt like the same things. So, but that's when it got really good for me. How did non spoiler section? Tell me your good things. Good things.
I like the politicking, to be honest, but that's just the type of book I like, and it's
Yeah.
purely a taste thing. I really like the politicking, especially at the end of the book, and
Yeah.
the wording of phrases with the Kansu and Gretchen and how she, like, kinda okay, so there's a duel at the end of the book,
Right.
except what
Mhm.
she does is she tricks it, so she doesn't actually have to fight the duel physically. She's just like, "I set him off and he's gonna die."
Yeah. I win.
I
Yeah.
It's just like a matter of time. He's gonna die. He's not coming back.
Yeah.
And I just love that kinda stuff.
Same.
Um, yeah. Um,
Now I'll push back a little bit. Technically, he might not die. He
he
could
might not.
go colonize his own planet. Now they probably don't
Yeah,
have
but,
enough supplies to actually do that,
screw
but
What did you
like,
say?
I said screw Fluffy.
screw Fluffy.
Screw
Not to
Fluffy.
screw Kitty. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
guys. Kitty and
Actually,
Fluffy
what
have
happened to
nothing to
Bacon?
offer.
Bacon just gets taken up. He's in the same ship and gets sent away as well.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Bacon and Fluffy are now in that
No,
alternate
so
universe and
And
Bacon
just
and Fluffy so Fluffy and Kitty are parents to Bacon.
is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's the way I understood it, is that Fluffy and Kitten are the parents of Bacon.
oh no. No.
I did not think so.
Fluffy is Bacon's dad. Kitty is a spy that went in and pretended to be with them and
I'm
then
pretty
betrayed
sure
them.
that Fluffy is also
No, I
okay,
did
well,
not
It
get
my
that at
my
all.
understanding is their relationships and the Konsu species is just beyond human understanding. Our brains are not big enough to understand how
Well,
they form
we
relationships.
don't have 4
so
brains, so
there
come
are
on.
2
I
things
mean,
that really, really bother me about this book. One, I am not a big fan of multiverse. I feel like it's a cheat.
Okay.
It was explained away in the very first Old Man's
It
War
was
book,
very hand wavy. It was like, "Nah, don't look here."
which is the same as
So I
this
don't like
one.
that.
It's
Like, if every skip is into another verse, then you have that no, I'm sorry.
but let me push back a little bit here, Red.
You
As
can
it explains,
so bad.
every universe that a normal skip drive can get to is literally the exact same except for like one atom. And you can't go farther in difference than that. So you couldn't like skip to a universe where you never existed because that requires too much power unless you have the new system.
Sure. It's not something I like.
I will have to side with Red here. Like, I understand
Boo.
the explanation that we're given, and I still can't quite wrap my head around it, and I agree that it's definitely more like it's just a plot device as opposed to necessarily good world building.
Yeah. That's where I am. It's used to do a thing. Like, why can't you have a skip drive without the
Well,
multiverse?
because then it ruins the whole point of the book.
I
How else
know
do
it
they
does.
hide
That's
the
the point.
asteroid?
That's the
Like,
point.
But that's what we're saying, is that it's a plot
oh
device. It's not necessarily good world
no.
building. But once I look past that, once I just like ignore that, I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna accept it and enjoy the rest of the story.
I,
I'm
I
just like,
still I
there's
think you guys are
so
way wrong.
many
That's
fluffies
fine.
and kitties and freaking Gretchens everywhere. They're all everywhere.
But they
Yes.
always leave at the same time as they arrive because they're all the same universe.
It's
No, they're
just
not.
all parallel.
Yeah,
Well, supposedly it's all parallel universes.
they're all exactly the same except for like so minute of differences you can't even like it's physically impossible to know,
Uh,
right?
but then how many people of you are there? It's
Well,
How
it's
many
infinite.
of
it's a
you?
plot device I do not like.
But
That
if
Well,
you die in one,
actually,
you're gonna die in all of them because the differences are that minute, right? There's not like it's not a typical multiverse where like you can actually find a different world. No matter which one you travel to, it's exactly the same.
I
Yeah,
know.
that's
I
how it
know.
is in this one. That's how it is. That's how Scalzi set it up.
well, fine. I don't like it.
But what's the other thing you dislike? And then we'll get to some good
Now I'm
things.
trying to remember because I'm so upset about it. This is amazing.
All right, let's go to Panda. Panda, tell us what
Yeah.
you liked. Tell us
Um, I
who's your
really
favorite alien race?
race? Yeah, I think the open.
Open
I
are
think the open.
interesting. They're
Yeah.
much more interesting in this book than they were in any other book to me.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's good.
You know, because
Well,
they're side characters in the the rest of the series.
okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Ran and just getting to know it more and
Hmm.
its interactions with other species, especially how it's like being trained by Gretchen on like social etiquette and yes, and the such. And also like it being funny without intending to, but then also intending to at times. So that was fun. Other things that I liked, I do like the twists. So like I said, it's, at times this book did make me think of Chesky, did you read When the Moon Hits Your Eye?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. Um, so it did make me think of When the Moon Hits Your Eye, where it's like, oh, it's this asteroid that's like gonna hit Earth, and it's just like a different take on it. It's from the like alien take, as opposed to like the humans on Earth take. So I really enjoyed that. And also, I think he does a pretty good job of like these traditional sci-fi tropes and subverting them. So for example, like the Kansu, they're so intelligent that, it's a what's it called? It's like denigrating for them to have to speak to
Talk to lower
humans.
humans. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
to lower beings. But then when, the two Konsu, Kitty and Bacon, were like talking to each other, more like yelling at each other, like their relationships are just like very similar to like human relationships
Mhm.
too. Um, so that was fun.
I will
And
say that Scalzi writes a really good alien. He's really gotten. I think he writes them really well, where they feel human, but they also don't feel human. Like every
right.
alien is gonna have social problems, right? But they're gonna be their own. But like he's so good at writing unique aliens that like have their own weird takes on things and weird feelings about things without being like without it seeming too weird. Like it makes sense that they're like that, right? He gives them
Uh-huh.
good credible reasons for why things are the way they are. And I love
Mhm.
learning more about the Kansu. This is the most we've ever learned about the Kansu in any book.
Yeah, for sure. But
Yeah, because they finally get to do an autopsy on them too.
Yes. Well,
I love
it's,
that they have like extra brains in their.
Right.
I mean,
They
I'd take extra brains for processing power if you could give them to me. Like,
they bioengineer themselves to have extra brain wireless extra brains,
uh, which can be hacked, maybe.
which can be hacked. Yeah.
no, we don't know
So that
that
was the
though.
other thing that irritated me, is the Kansu were so self-important and got tricked in so many easy ways. Maybe that was a point that he was
I think
trying.
that was the point because
Yeah.
the self-importance just made them a bit blind to actually these lower intelligence can actually be quite smart.
Well, and
Yeah,
Kitty was
but
never
every time they
surprised
said,
because
"I can't."
Kitty knew
Well
that they
well
were listening and stuff.
well,
That's
yeah,
true.
but what I was gonna say is that every time they said, "We can't upload this information into your brain because it will kill you," I'm just like, "Oh, shut up. Just shut up. Shut up, Kitty." That that was the part. Look, they're super smart, whatever. I'm just
Yes.
saying.
Well, actually, so the other part, like, in a lot of like space station or spaceship kind of settings, like some authors do go into a lot of detail to explain the like um recycling system, right? Because resources are quite finite. And I did enjoy how Scalzi subverted some of the like expectations where he did explain the sewers for this colony,
Damn it,
but it's
sewage.
not quite the way you would expect, but it's also quite logical. So it's
Oh,
like,
yeah, I love that.
yeah, and so that's like one way I think that's just a bit more different because so for example, we recently read Ethan of Athos by Bujon, which is very fun, great book. And the way that they explain the sewer situation is just like it's all pulverized to like, the basic atoms. And then it's used as fertilizer for, the growing the food or whatever. And this one is just like so different. It's like, well, basically each species have their own crap, and that crap is what's it called? It's like the
It has to do
food.
with their biomes
Yes, the
are,
biomes
they have different
are
needs.
compatible, better
Right,
compatible with the food that they would eat, so that they need to
right.
grow the food in the same crap. Anyway, yeah.
And I loved that, um, I don't remember which character Gretchen is talking. Oh, no, it's her doctor friend. By the way, I was
Mhm.
shipping for them so hard the whole book, and
Oh, I could not. I did not ship them at all. I was like, you dated this guy once for a couple months, and you dropped him, and you
who
left, and
cares?
now
Who
you're
cares?
back, and you're like
Well, she never
Or
obsessed
they
got
over
over
him.
him,
bastard.
okay?
Who cares?
It's fine. It wasn't like grossly offensive, but I was just like, I really don't care if you get together with this guy.
Anyway, the point is that the doctor is talking about how because they have to have these separate sewer systems, they actually have to keep separate, and so they're not actually able to integrate, and I just thought that was a really fun way to talk
Yeah.
about integration.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought it
yeah.
was really good too. Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's why
yeah.
the colony is failing is because there's not
Right,
actually integrating, but
Right.
they're,
they keep it up. because of poop.
They're living together, but not.
Yeah, for an understandable reason, but also kind of dumb.
Yeah, but still,
It's a
I just found
crappy
that
reason. Okay.
Panda, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to ask you to leave now. That's
Okay,
that's a
bye.
step too far.
I'm just saying,
Uh,
I thought that was a really good way to deal with, like, how I in general, like, take aliens out of it. Take humans just in human societies. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes those are the weird things that makes it hard for people to,
Right.
Now,
like,
see, okay, let's
not
uh
poop,
let's
but, just
Yeah, yeah,
let's talk
yeah.
weird
about
things
the
that
end
are
of this
normal
book
things.
for a
Okay.
second. Now, in the end of this book, she decides that this technology, which she's been given, and which through a series of special caveats we've been given access to, right? Rand can run it remotely multiple times, which
Mhm.
he was only supposed to be able to run it twice. I was thinking, but at the end of this book, the ending surprised me because I was like, well, this is perfect. All they have to do is shunt one alien to one universe, one alien to another universe, one alien to the next universe, right? Every alien can have its own universe with basic skip drives, right? Those basic skip drives will keep them in their local space. And so there's infinite planets now. I was like, this is amazing. And then she's like, well, we're just gonna colonize Earth again. You know, with a mixed alien population. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense and that's fine. Like, and I get the worrisome like weapon potential,
Right.
but I also think like the Oban are the perfect people to hold that because while it's true they have no emotions, the Oban only went to war because they needed more space.
Mm.
And in a system with infinite space, there's literally no reason for them to go to war with anybody. And as non-conscious beings,
Mhm.
they wouldn't do that, right? And the
Mm.
consciousness going to war conscious would destroy them, right? So they couldn't do that. And so to me, it made total sense as an Oban to be like, yeah, the Oban can be the ones. They'll like drop everybody off. You know, they can. You could still do intertrade if the Oban have that system and technology. They can be the facilitators of trade. I thought it was a perfect system, and then Scalzi smashed it with a hammer multiple times and just destroyed my hopes and dreams for this universe. But
He
did you guys see that coming?
I
Them
did not see it coming.
colonizing Earth?
Any of the end? Yeah.
No.
I did not. Yeah.
Well, what? Tell me about it.
Yeah, if he had ended it the way that you had hoped, then he would have expanded this whole entire universe by a lot. Uh and I guess maybe he didn't want to.
While I see that it could be an opening, like expanding the universe, I also feel like it would close the books because there's no more conflict because the only conflict they really have is space.
I
Fair,
don't
fair.
know. I think that this is a better closing Gambit. Like, he can come back to it if he wants to, but he doesn't really have to. By the way,
Yeah.
I
for this
agree with that. I feel like that's right.
Well, he didn't
Yeah, it does leave it open for more if he wants, right? Sorry.
but I think it's also he's not breaking his system, like his other his overall world. Because with this, it's the whole crux of the conflict here is that this new technology, right? It changes the game. It changes the dynamics of all these species that he's built up. And he maybe this really is he just wanted this to be a one-off and say like, "Well, here's what it could have been, but I'm gonna bring it back."
And that's totally fine. I am never well, I will try and tell an author what to do, but never seriously. And never like with actual intention that I get listened to. Right?
why
Uh-huh.
didn't you write the book I wanted you to write?
Yeah, exactly. It reeks of that if you do that. But to me it just made a whole lot of sense as a final
Sure.
book, as a closing. You know, you're solving this problem that's the problem is like because now what's going to happen? What's going to happen to everybody else who's left in the main universe, right? They're still going to fight over land. They're still going to fight over colonies. They still have alien species that don't join the conclave. My solution fixes all that. I'm sure Scalzi thought of it because he seems like a much smarter man than I and decided against it. And
We
I
could
did
try
like that
asking.
I did like that they went back to Earth. Like that
Mm.
was kind of a unique thing. I was like, oh, it's Earth. That's really cool. Will it work for all these aliens? Who knows? It should, but we'll see. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it was
Do we
good though.
know? Do we know if he's planning additional books for the series?
I didn't think he was planning this one, so
It's hard to
Maybe
tell with
they'll just
him.
be.
One of the things I found very interesting is that Gretchen and Rand are having a conversation, and she's complaining about the character of the concept, like how their species works, which, by the way,
Uh-huh.
is just such an obvious honor culture. Like it's, you have
Yeah.
anyway. Um, and he says that's why they made us
Mm-hmm.
because they were trying to solve a character defect in their species. Like speaking in very broad terms, but you know what I mean? Like they're like,
Mm-hmm.
we have this problem and our consciousness and our honor are getting in the way of progressing. And so
Mm-hmm.
they made the Oban for a lot of reasons, partly as an experiment for their extra brains, but also like they were trying to solve a problem where they have this code and the code, they keep bumping up against the code and getting into fights
Mm.
that cause cusps, as they call them.
well,
Right.
the cusps was an interesting thing. Like their species basically tackles one problem at a time until it comes to a big head, and then they go from there. That was kind of interesting, and then everybody follows it, right? Like
Mhm.
once it's won or once it's decided,
Right.
everybody follows it. And this, using the asteroid to bomb Earth wouldn't have even solved the problem. It wouldn't have even ended the cusp. It would have lent more credence to one side, which
Right.
is just like, oh boy.
There's this whole political theory about accelerationists, and they accelerate the problem in order to get what they want, which is the opposite of whatever that acceleration is going for. It totally reminded me of that.
Yeah.
So let's
It's funny.
I'm not gonna get more political than what I just said, but there are theories about this in
Right.
politics.
Right. Right. Well, one of the parts that I did find bogged down the story, the pacing, was the physicists at the colony. That whole conversation of like, they're like, no, you're wrong. You don't know the math and like how the skip drives work. And it was just like, okay, like I get it that, in real life, like if experts were coming up against, things that totally broke their understanding of their field of expertise, like this is likely how they would act, but it wasn't a great reading experience.
You're
I
fine to say that.
I
I
this is where I'm with Panda, and also I'm okay, so
I was
Halsey
like really believable. I was like, yeah, the Colonial Union would do something. They would stress test them just because. They would just withhold information and everything
but
just
do we
because they
need,
can.
like, so much information? It was too much. It Halsey writes short books. There was some stuff in this book, not only throat clearing, but we need a few more pages. So let's have the physicists have this talk.
Not gonna lie, that thought did cross my mind. Like, are you trying to hit a certain word count?
Whoa, whoa! Look at all
I
these
know.
bad
I'm
feelings.
sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's sorry, Chesky. You're the one who's wrong here. Panda wanted to
Ah,
say it.
no. As the official host, I get the right opinion. That's how it works.
It
Yes.
and
Okay.
I want to be very clear to our listeners.
No,
There is
I'm
a lot of really fun, good stuff. There's some
Yeah.
serious thought. He has some cute jokes, you
Yeah.
know, but there is some stuff that
There's
drags
a
the
lot of good ideas, like
yeah.
good concepts being explored.
right.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I just am giving you guys a hard time. I it could have been a little. I think it could have been cut a little bit more, but I thought it was nice that for the layman he explains more about the skip drives, especially as they were not really mentioned in the previous. They're not gone
But
into it
see,
really at all
even
in the
me,
previous books.
first time reading the series, I also found it like a little too much. Too many words.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I think that if we had an actual physicist look at this, they would say this is gobbledygook magic.
Gobbledygook.
That's what it is. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I could be wrong. I'm just saying. It's a
Well,
lot
and
of
then
weaving and blah, blah, blah,
the
and it's a lot
explanation
of pages.
the explanation of like the other version of the skip drive and just like some of it I was just like, um,
You don't care.
yeah, no. Like it's a plot device, right? So I'll just take it as a plot device and we can get to the fun bits. That's it.
You're again allowed to have these opinions, right or
I'm allowed
wrong,
to be wrong. That's fine.
whatever they may be. But I think on the whole, we all said we still liked it. So let's talk about. We've talked about some negative things for a little bit. Let's talk about some things that were really good or that we liked, and then we'll close out. I think we've talked about everything. Unless there's something else you guys are wanting to talk about before we kind of do our final
I think we already talked about some good.
good thoughts.
Final good thoughts. So one is I am like I enjoy this book enough to want to go back and read the, you know, previous
Oh, man.
books. Yeah. Um and I'm curious to see how my reading experience will be since I already have some idea of how certain conflicts ended. And I do like his writing for the most part. And the jokes are most of the jokes landed. Although, come on, Goober.
That was pretty funny.
That
Goober.
was that
Giving
was
him an
pretty funny.
unserious name.
Uh, um, I when when Gretchen was dueling Fluffy, I didn't expect the her skipping them to a different universe. I thought that she was gonna use Ran as her weapon.
Well, she did, but not in the way that I thought. I
Right.
I was with you know what I mean? Like, she
Okay,
did
yeah, yeah, yeah.
use him to program that. I thought she was gonna make him fight. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
thought that was what it was. So that was a nice like surprise. That is not what actually happened.
I liked that twist as well. The Oben, I mean that Rand didn't fight, but I agree. I really liked. I mean, I just liked the whole story. I liked the missing thing. I liked the confusion. Where is it? How have we not missed it? What's going on with it? And then they find it, and now they got to figure out how to get back and how to do these other things. So
Yeah.
I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
Um, Red, did you want to say anything else?
I just like I said, I enjoyed just being in this world again,
Mhm.
and I enjoyed getting to know the Khonsu and the Oben better, and I think Gretchen was a really good vehicle for an entry in because the end of the last book, we didn't know a lot about the Conclave, and this is 20
Okay.
years after the end of the last book, and so
Okay.
I really enjoyed getting to see it from away from the Perry family and having
Mm.
this girl.
I was missing the Perrys. I was like, "Where's
You
John? I
were?
want my John back. Bring John back. He's my man."
Well, in fair what I'm saying is that it was a really good way to talk about the Khonsu and the Oben without the Perry family, like, just
Yeah.
having a new look into this world, which I enjoyed.
Mm.
So,
It
Okay.
was good to get
I
away
love
from
John
the Skywalker syndrome, which can happen in series like this.
Fair enough,
That's a good
fair
way
enough.
to put it. Yeah.
Well,
So
I think
it's almost like I started watching Star Wars from like The Force Awakens, you know?
I guess there's a little bit of that. I can see it that
Yeah,
way.
I guess you could say that, yeah. All
All
right.
right.
Well, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for listening to us talk about the Shattering Peace by John Scalzi, the 7th book in the Old Man's War series. We all thought it was pretty good, and we think you should read it as well. Thanks to Jingle Punks for their song Galactic Damages, which is the intro and outro music of our podcast. Thank you all for listening. Thanks, Red. Thanks, Panda. Thank you, NetGalley, for giving us this copy again. I'm your host, Cesky, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.
Do an intro first.
No, we're going to skip the intro this time. We don't believe in intros here at the Green Team of the
Oh
Legendarium.
no.